like to call this Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting to order. First of all, number one, procedural notes. This meeting will be held electronically as per section 19.1 of the town's procedure bylaw number 6228-19 as amended due to the COVID-19 situation. So next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the revised agenda?
Matthew.
Matthew, thank you. Second by?
Haley.
Haley, thank you. Any questions or comments on the agenda? I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Do we have any declarations tonight? Okay, receive the minutes. May I please have a motion to receive the minutes of October 14th, 2020?
Matthew.
Matthew, second by?
Haley.
Haley, thank you. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That carries. Delegations. Do we have any delegations this evening? I don't believe so. Great. Matters for consideration. So memorandum from the accessibility advisor regarding committee input and comments for site plan application SPEX 2020-27 submission 1. Matt, can you take that away, I guess?
Yeah, can you just table it, John?
Oh. Yeah, we were to, and a seconder to put a motion on the floor for discussion. Moved by?
Matthew.
Matthew, second?
Haley.
Haley, let's keep it going, okay?
Thanks, John. I was trying not to laugh the entire time there between Matthew and Haley eating her food, but
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So pretty easy agenda today, so we shouldn't be too long. I don't anticipate us being here more than an hour, but we'll kind of get moving through these. So the first one that we have over here, yes, John, it is SPEX, so it's a little bit of a different one. So usually these are minor applications that come through the office, and so that's why we have the EX in there. But anyway, so this is actually for the restaurant that's on the corner of Wellington Street, right on the 404 Plaza over there. We've looked at this before. So I'll show you guys the actual site plan. As you can see over here, it's right in the corner. I think it's right across from the Boston Pizza. That's probably the best way for you guys to recognize it. It's right on the Walmart Plaza. Either way, so this is what this application is for, is just for a minor application to have an outdoor patio installed. And so can you guys see my mouse on the screen okay? You guys see it rotating over there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, perfect. So this is the portion of the site plan that we're going to be looking at over here. So there's already the existing restaurant on the left side. This over here highlighted is the existing patio that they currently have outdoors. So what this application is strictly for is just the addition of an outdoor patio that would be actually reaching out onto the current parking lot that you can see over here on the east side of the building. And so what they're proposing is about 6 tables, and they're going to have an outdoor grill, which is a small block over here. So that's the only thing that we would be looking at. So in terms of comments that I had for the site plan application for SPEX 2020-27 is that the outdoor patio obviously have the minimum requirement of the AODA for 20% of the tables to be accessible. This site plan has been previously, like when we were working on the restaurant, has been pretty good. So I don't anticipate any issues coming back with that piece. There isn't a good drawing indicating what the exterior path of travel is for this particular site. As you can see, like from the parking lot, I don't see any curb depressions entering into the restaurant. And so what I highlighted basically was that the developer makes sure that there is an exterior path of travel from the parking lot into that restaurant over there. and that there is an exterior path that is indicated to get onto the patio as well. Based on the drawings, which I can flip through in a second and show you, it does look like people would be coming in through the restaurant on the existing patio, enter in through the space where the grill would be, and over here, right where that table is, there looks like they're talking about having an opening. Now, again, we would have to get clarification from the developer, but I have highlighted that they have to ensure that there is an exterior, like an accessible barrier-free path of travel into the patio. But based on the drawings that I've received, I don't see exactly what it is, so I can't exactly show you where it would be. Now, I've also highlighted that they have to provide a minimum of 1,500 millimeters, or the 1.5 meter width for the path between the tables, basically. So it's barrier-free friendly for all individuals to be able to come in with assistive devices or wheelchairs. So that shouldn't be an issue. And then the last point that I actually put on for this specific site is they have indicated that they're obviously putting it on the current parking lot. It does not indicate whether or not there's currently any barrier-free parking in this general area. So I've highlighted that if this patio is going to be interfering or going over top of any of the barrier-free parking that could be over there, that they would have to obviously put it beside the patio or on the shortest route possible to the restaurant. But again, I don't have, the drawings didn't indicate whether or not there was barrier-free parking there originally. So I made that point regardless, just to make sure that we're covered in case. And then that was pretty much it. Oh, the last piece that I indicated as well was for any lighting that they might do. In the other drawings, you'll see it looks like a canopy. I'll flip over to them right now. So you can see it looks like it's going to be like, it's going to be covered. Like there isn't going to be any exposure to any of the outdoors. And so I assume the lighting will kind of hang over top, but I mentioned that if they do have any spot lighting or any posts kind of being placed around, that it does not impede with the exterior path of travel for anyone that's kind of walking through the area. But that was it from my comments. This is the last drawing. And so you can see this is where the grill would be, right over here. And then this is where I was mentioning, it looks like they have their pass. You have a door entering in over here, and it says there's a pass through. But the reason I can't say that I'm sure that that's a possibility is you see on the first drawing, if we mimic it, there's a table over there. And so I need clarification from the developer on what that exterior path of travel would look like to get onto the patio. I'm sure they've thought of it. They may have just missed it in terms of highlighting where it would be shown on this particular map. But I'll open the floor over to the rest of the committee for any further feedback, questions on this site plan.
Any members with comments?
I took a drive over there today to see if there's they're blocking, like they're going to build over top of the parking, but there isn't parking there, so it's good.
Okay.
Right. One other comment, the doors going in and out of the restaurant to access the patio, the power doors, accessible doors.
Yeah, so when we did, well, I don't know, I haven't seen the site itself, but when we first commented on it, that was in our comments that they have to have public access doors with proper time delays. So yes, it should have it.
Okay, because there's several restaurants have an exterior door that's a power door, and then into the vestibule, it's not a power
They
door.
skip out on it, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so I always put in for any public access locations that we implement it. So I would have put that on the comments for when the existing restaurant went through, but we would have to go on site to see if they did it.
Any more comments from the committee? So can we receive his information as well as the comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that carries. Thank you. 6.2 memorandum from accessibility advisor regarding input and comments for site plan SP 2020-10 submission number 1. May I have a mover and seconder to put the motion on the floor for discussion?
Matthew.
Ellie, second by
Rochelle?
Michelle. Thank you.
Got to change. Nice. So yeah, this is SP 2020-10. This is actually going to be on Addison Hall Circle, which is very similar to the recent site plans that we've been looking over for the last couple of months, right behind the Walmart area over there. And so this is the first submission that you guys will be seeing for this particular site plan. And so as you can see in the background, I had the comments, but I will go through them as we look at the actual site plan itself. So let me just scroll over to that page. Bear with me, it's just freezing for a second. There we go. And so I'm going to zoom in for you guys as well, just so you can see it a little bit better. But it doesn't want to. There we go. Okay, so on this specific site plan application, I did have a couple of comments, nothing too severe. Overall, the site plan looks pretty good in terms of accessibility. I'll start off with mentioning that they do have a crosswalk with curb depressions ready from the exterior path of travel. So as you can see on the top right page where my mouse is highlighting right now, the exterior path of travel leads in from the street, has a crosswalk, and provides an exterior path of travel into the 6 units provided at the specific site plan application. And they did a good job with providing the accessible barrier-free parking. They've provided about 6 spots, all of which meet our zoning bylaws and the legislation for the AODA. They provided the accessible aisles and the curb depressions that need to be associated with those as well. I was pretty happy with the way they distributed them. It looks like they have about 2 for every 2 units. And so unit 5 and 6, you can see over here, have a curb depression plus 2 spots. For unit 4 and 3, same thing. And then it carries over to unit 2 and 1 over here on the south side. So they did a fairly good job with that. One of the comments I had over here for this specific site plan was that I wanted indication to just see what the width is of their exterior path of travel. Again, like we normally talk about, 1.5 meters is the minimum, but it wasn't highlighted. So I asked for the developer just to make sure that the path of travel going along units 1 through 6 does meet that requirement for 1.5 meters. Based on the information that we receive back, as long as they meet that, if they exceed it, we can add in the comments on further submissions to add in rest areas like we normally do. But I didn't include on this one just because I don't know what the path looks like at the moment. So I left that comment out for the time being. For doors, just like John was mentioning on the previous site plan applications, I did mention that they have to have automatic door openers with proper time delays on all of the public access locations. So that would include units 1 to 6. And then for the back area, you can see that they do have staircases coming out for these industrial units. And so I mentioned over here where my mouse is highlighting the staircases that they have to have the proper tactile plates installed for those staircases as well. This wouldn't be public access locations. This would be for workers, but either way, we highlighted that piece for any workers that might require tactile indicators. For the units themselves, we don't have any interior drawings yet, just because this is an early submission. This is submission 1. But based on the memorandum, it looks like they're going to have service counters of some sort. And so I've gone ahead and indicated that any counter surfaces that are going to be provided for customers, that they do have an accessible spot available to them as well. So that way anyone coming in with assistive devices or wheelchairs is able to access and receive customer service at those locations. And so that was it for comments for this one. The grading itself was pretty good. Like I didn't have any issues with the grade on this specific application. It was pretty level. The exterior paths of travels are all connected. Barrier-free path of travel looks good from the parking itself. And so I left it at those comments, but I will open it over to the rest of the committee for further comment or questions.
Anyone? Comments, questions? Complaints?
I'm clearly making your lives a little bit too easy lately.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so let's put that to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Anyone? Motion carries. Thank you. 6.3 memorandum for the accessibility advisory committee input and comments site plan application SPM 2020-03 submission number 2. So that the memorandum regarding the accessibility advisory committee input and comments for the site plan be received. That the accessibility advisory committee comments regarding the site plan application be received and referred to staff for consideration as appropriate. So may I have a mover and a seconder for the motion on the floor?
Matthew.
Matthew, second by?
Haley.
We're gonna give it to Max this time.
Agreed.
All right, thanks, Max. All right,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this site plan application is SPM 2020-03. This is actually the unit on Industrial Parkway North, fairly close to the Aurora Family Leisure Complex. We have looked at the site plan application previously. This is when they were originally installing the new building on this site plan. So let me just zoom in to make it a little bit easier for everybody to see. And so I'm going to zoom in quite a bit just so I can show you what the site plan is specifically in this case. So where my mouse is currently highlighting on the middle of the page, this parking lot is what this registered plan is in regards to. So they're adding in, I think it was off the top of my head, it was 52. Oh yeah, there it is. 52 parking spots that they're adding in. And so that did influence the amount of barrier-free parking that they would require for this. So we're not looking at the rest of the site in terms of exterior paths of travel. They're not changing anything previously that we've already now had a chance to comment on. So this is the new building that we previously commented on. And so we're just focusing on the parking lot. But either way, the original time that we saw the site plan application on submission 1, we did highlight that they needed to add 2 barrier-free parking spots. And they did address that on the site plan. So I'm just scrolling over so you guys can see that. Your faces are all in the way. So let me move that over. There we go. Okay, so this is the front entrance of the existing building. And so you can see that over here, we've got 2 spots, and then they have 4 spots over here on the other side of the building. And so they've addressed all the barrier-free parking requirements at the front entrance of the building. They don't have anything added on for the existing back of the building just because this is not their main entrance. And so they basically put all their barrier-free parking on the shortest route entering into the facility. And so they met that requirement. And again, this is just for the parking that they're adding in for this specific site plan application. And so I didn't have any further comments at this time just because we don't have anything else to really touch on. So I'll bring the screen back over to where they're expanding the parking lot so you guys can take a look in terms of where it's going to be located. But I have no comments on the site plan application as they addressed the issues we had previously. So I'll open it up to the committee for anything that I may have missed.
What is the elevation?
The elevation isn't shown on this one, Max, but let me just drop down a couple of, give me one second, drawings to see if they did provide one with elevation drawings, but I don't think they did. I'm frozen, so just give me a second here. No, sorry, that's not scrolling down because that's the last page. So the previous drawings, Max, when we looked at it, didn't have any elevation issues when we looked at it on the first submission. So I can go back and clarify for the committee just to ensure that there isn't any elevation issues. But when we looked at it last time, we didn't address anything. So I didn't add in any specific drawings on this particular application, but I can go back and confirm that for you.
That's okay.
Any other comments from committee members? This one's pretty easy. I don't expect anything really, but if you guys see anything, let me know. If you want me to move the page anywhere else, I can do that. But like I said, we're focusing really just on the new area that they're adding in.
so with no comments, call the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that carries. Excellent. Next item on the agenda is 6.4 roundtable discussion regarding the accessibility plan of the town of Aurora, 2018 to 2024. One, the accessibility advisory committee comments regarding the town of Aurora accessibility plan 2018-2024 be received and referred to staff for consideration and action as appropriate. We have a mover and a seconder to put the motion on the floor. Anyone?
Haley.
Haley. Seconder,
Rochelle.
Rochelle, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have quite a bit of updates, so buckle up and then we can kind of get through these items. So I'll go through them in terms of capital and operating budgets first. And then I do want to comment on the site visits that we've been trying to kind of coordinate throughout the year and a solution that I've kind of provided and I will be sending out to you guys in the next week. But to start off, we have completed our capital project for the audible pedestrian signal on Engelhard. So this is right where the fire station is, very close to Yonge Street, Henderson area. And so this capital project was in place a little while ago. It was meant to be complete in 2020. And so that project is officially complete. We did have some delays over the last 2 months in terms of making sure that the accessibility auditory tunes met standard. And so they have achieved that. And so I spoke to engineering earlier this week and they have confirmed that that is now officially complete. So I will go on site next week just to ensure that everything is okay. But their team has already been out to ensure that the capital project is up to spec on their end. And so that way we can file in terms of budget to pay the vendor. Next item. Actually, I'll ask for comments in between. Any comments or any questions about the Engelhard audible pedestrian signal? We had originally 2 more planned for this year. Previously in the year, I told you guys that those got delayed till 2021. That's Kennedy on Yonge and Henderson on Yonge. So we've already started the plans for those 2 intersections. They just got delayed because we are doing the road construction work next year. And so we just want to make sure that we're not making a mess twice for the residents in those areas. And so those 2 will be complete in 2021. Those aren't delayed, they just got moved over. And so that's why only Engelhard is being complete for 2020.
I'm happy to hear the Kennedy one's moving along eventually. That's my intersection.
Yep. So Kennedy's, all the plans are done in terms of drawings. We're basically just waiting for 2021 spring, summer to begin. So that way they can put the shovel in the ground and get working on that piece.
Yeah, that crosswalk on the north end there of Kennedy is just brutal.
Yeah, there's a couple of problem spots on Yonge Street for sure.
I would say today is not good.
Yeah. Okay. Next item to update the team on is our facility accessibility design standards. And so I was talking to you guys about that earlier in the year where we would go to procurement in order to get our own vendor and contractor coming in to assist us with building our own FADs, which is facility accessibility design standards. This is now becoming a little bit more common in municipalities and large organizations across Ontario. And so we're not new to this game. We're just kind of in the middle in terms of it, but procurement has done its job and we have secured a contractor. The project was awarded to a company named Designable Environment. And so this is a company that works downtown Toronto and they've done quite a bit of FADS projects across Ontario. They've helped out Mississauga, London. I believe they assisted Ottawa. And so they're pretty well renowned and known in this industry for assisting us with these kind of projects. And so I've got in contact with Bob, who is the president, in order to start conversations. And so what we're doing right now is we're bringing forward the motion to our executive leadership team in order to speak with the management in terms of who wants to be involved on this project. Not so much who wants to be involved, more of who needs to be involved. And so this is going to be a good corporate initiative where we have pretty much every department kind of putting their hands in on it. So it's going to affect all public space and interior space for any municipal buildings or anything being constructed by the town of Roar for 2022 moving forward, because this project will be complete in 2021. It'll probably take about 9 to 12 months between consultation between staff, the public, and of course yourselves as the Accessibility Advisory Committee in terms of drafts and just getting approvals. And so we're just beginning that initial stage in terms of building our own internal staff team through the ELT motion. And then, like I said, once we get our first draft of this plan, we'll be definitely bringing it over to the Accessibility Advisory Committee for feedback, as well as additions that they would like to see. And so you guys will be heavily involved in that piece. And so what the facility accessibility design standards are being implemented for is to provide information Greater detail in terms of information on top of what the Ontario Building Code sets as minimum standards. And so generally this is an opportunity to either just provide better drawings for any contractors or staff members to understand what the expectations are for accessibility standards in buildings and outdoor spaces, or if we feel that there should be a higher standard than the Ontario Building Code, this will be a good opportunity for staff and committees to give that input and validate why we should go above the minimum code of the Ontario Building Code. And so that was a long rant, but I'll give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions. Again, this project is just starting, and so you'll be seeing a lot of information about it over the next couple of months. No questions? Sorry, John.
That's right. Anyone?
So this plan is going to start in 2021, you said, right?
Yeah, so technically it's initiated now. Like we officially sent out the letter over to the contractor to begin to work with us. But in terms of actually having something physical to talk about and work on, yeah, it would be 2021. Right now, it's just going to be conversations and consultation with the contractor.
So this is going to cover like corporate services and the internal municipal workings and stuff.
Correct. So this is going to be a guiding document for anything municipal based. And so whenever we see site plans for private organizations and developers outside of whatever work we would be doing, we can recommend and push that they follow the guidelines because it's going to be a municipal standard. So we can ask them to adhere to it, but technically speaking, they can still abide by the minimum Ontario Building Code. So basically what we're setting out is precedents that we're making sure that in municipalities, anything that we build is to the best standard possible in terms of accessibility. And then we're going to promote that to the private sector as well. If they're developing anything, that they try to adhere to it as well. And so it gives us a little bit of more in terms of like, it gives us ground to stand on when giving it those recommendations where we have an official document versus just, we think it would be nice to have those things, right? So it's a little bit more concrete when we're giving information to developers.
Okay.
And like I said, if you guys are interested in looking at what a FADS is, many municipalities have it. So I would recommend taking a look at Mississauga. London and Ottawa are all great examples of facility accessibility design standards. If you can't find it, I'll send you guys a link. But ours will obviously be a little bit different. They make it very specific to each municipality based on what they would like to see. But the general principles will be the same amongst those design standards. But anyone else have any other questions? Clear as mud. Good, good. Okay, next project. We had 2 accessible change tables that are going to be installed in the year of 2020. Both are currently on track. The winning contractor for that was Mocal Industries. And so we have already met with the vendor for both the Aurora Family Leisure Complex and the Stronach Rural Recreation Complex to just make sure that our facilities can handle the load on their walls for these change tables and that they can fit the width of them. So these are adult change tables that we are installing in both facilities. And so we're going to be doing it in the family change rooms of both the AFLC and the SARC. Now, ideally, usually when you have a new build, a new facility where you can have a large universal washroom, you would ideally put the change table in a universal washroom. Now, because we're retrofitting and both these facilities are a little bit older, our washrooms are too small to have the current build where we have the railings for the toilets and stuff. We don't have enough room essentially to add in a change table on top of that. And so we've sat down with Aquatics, Community Services, as well as the operations team and the vendor to kind of map out where the best location would be for these change tables. And so for the Stronach in the family change rooms, if you guys are aware, there are 2 very large change rooms available over there. So we're going to be installing one of those change rooms essentially. We'll be adding in the operators as well to make sure that the doors are fully accessible. These are good change rooms because you're able to come in with your wheelchair or assistive device basically and have room to still operate the change table. So that's the reason we went with one of those rooms. And then for the Aurora Family Leisure Complex in the family change room, as soon as you enter in from the hallway entrance, right next to the washrooms, we have a larger stall. And so the other accessible change table will be installed on that wall. And so we basically went with the biggest room that we have in terms of space for both of these locations. And we also try to put it as close to a water source as well. And so that way, if anyone needs to get it to one of the fountains or washrooms, they're in close proximity to have those utilized as well. And so again, unfortunately, it would be ideal if we had larger washrooms to make that work, but our buildings are a little bit too old and the space is a little bit too small to make it a viable option. So we decided to go with the large change rooms instead. So those will be installed at the end of the month. What we're basically waiting on at this moment is just for electrical components to be installed by one of our electrical contractors. And so I believe they're coming in next week to get the outlets installed. And so then the vendor Mocal would come in to install the actual change tables by the end of November, early December, the latest, and we would have that project complete for 2020. Any questions with that one? So these adult change tables are fully electric, and so they can drop down right to the floor. So if anyone needs to have, or if anyone needs assistance with using the floor to kind of get an individual onto the change table, it does have that capability. And then it rises all the way up as well. And so this is a great change table. I've gotten excellent reviews basically from other municipalities. Newmarket has them installed in a couple of the locations. This is the change table. It's being installed in all universal washrooms for our gas stations throughout Ontario. So it has great reviews on it. And so we're excited to basically see it being implemented. We did go with a 55-inch change table because, again, of limitations in terms of space. The maximum size is 72 inches that you can normally go with an adult change table. But again, we're working in older facilities and we don't have the room to provide that. So we had to go with a smaller one, unfortunately. Go ahead, Max.
Have you considered putting a horse with the change table, or is that included?
So a hoist, I know this would have probably been on the previous committee. I know we used to speak about adding in a hoist on the ceilings for the facilities for both the Stronach and the Aurora Family Leisure Complex. It's something that we can definitely discuss, and it'll actually be a good topic to bring up when we start talking about the facilities once I get to that in this area. But to answer your question quickly, Max, no, it's not a part of this project. It is something that we can look at as a capital option just because it is very expensive to add that in for the future. So we can look at that, but it's not involved in this. We do have mobile Hoyers at both facilities. And so if someone required one, we do have one available to be used, but it's not a stationary one that you're probably thinking about from the ceiling.
Yeah, I've seen those mobile horses, and I've seen the rooms that will be using them, and I don't see how a wheelchair and the Hoyer and the chair table will fit.
Yep. And so that's a very good point, Max. And so just to kind of let everyone know what Max was saying there. So the issue again with our small spaces at both the complexes is if someone needs to use the lift, have their wheelchair and the change table, the rooms are going to be quite small to use, right? So you're absolutely right. If someone needed to use the Hoyer lift, they would probably have to get themselves lifted outside the room and then bring the Hoyer into the room and then get transferred over onto the table. There's no way based on our facility capacity that you can have the wheelchair Hoyer lift, the mobile Hoyer lift, and the change table all available to the person at the same time. And so that's what I was mentioning. I think it's a good idea that we do look at this as a project in upcoming years to have one on the ceiling above the change table, just because it's much more user-friendly in terms of space, as well as I just like the stationary lifts better for being user-friendly and available to people. The mobile lifts are very difficult to use. They are I'm almost hesitant to even have staff, like the 16-year-old to 20-year-old lifeguards, ever use them in terms of trusting them to help people out. This would usually be a support person that I would be asking to use that kind of device, just because they're a little bit more trained in that area. So that's why I agree that I think this might be something that we throw onto the capital project list in future years. Thanks for your comments, Max. Any other questions, concerns? Okay. Next item to talk about, we have the door operators installed at the Aurora Family Leisure Complex for both the male and female change rooms. This was a project I think Joanne was asking about many months back. And so the operators have been installed for both the change rooms, for both the entry from the hallway and onto the pool deck. Currently, same thing as the change tables. We have an electrician coming in to just install the electrical work required to finish off the project. But the physical operators have already been installed. So as soon as the electrician comes in, again, we're just waiting in the next couple of weeks. They're very busy right now. But as soon as they get the electricity up and running, those door operators will be complete, and that project will be crossed off by year end for the door operators. I'm just going to move on just because I don't think there's going to be any questions with the door operators. They're pretty much good to go. The website is something that I wanted to bring to our attention. So I know I brought a memorandum over to you guys either earlier this year or in 2019 in terms of the compliance issues that we had with our website. And so both myself and Dan Johnson, which is our records manager, have been working diligently to fix the issues that we have as a municipality. Just to bring it to everyone's attention, this is an ongoing issue across Ontario. This is not just a town of Aurora issue. Many municipalities are struggling with the WCAG standards, which is the web content technical requirements, to make sure that your website is up to code with the AODA. The issue is the mass amounts of PDF documents that have accumulated on our website and the coding in the platform. And so we do have a timeline plan. We've been working with the province. It's been approved in terms of when it's going to be complete. And so just to give you guys an update on where we're at right now, we have started off training and have completed training with all managers and supervisors. We're providing a technical training to all staff members on how to write better documents. And so that includes accessibility. And so what we're talking about is document structure, components in terms of writing Word documents and PDF documents, and how to ensure that you're publishing accessible documents whenever putting anything onto the website. And so we basically built a process map, process flow moving forward for how the expectations are supposed to look for staff members in terms of implementing anything on our external website that's available to the public, and how we plan on addressing the documents that we currently have on there. And so one of the items that we're going to be putting through is we're going to be using AbleDocs, which is an online vendor, to provide us something called, it's called AD Scan. And so this is just a proprietary item that they own. And so what the scan basically does is it goes through all of our PDFs that we currently have on the website, and it highlights what issue is in each of these individual PDFs. So that way we know exactly what we have to do in terms of fixing it, and that way we can remediate it. It's about $1,500 to run it through the whole website. We have over 3,000 documents. And so it's well worth the cost, because Dan and I have to go through all of these documents and remediate them. Some of the more complex documents, such as maps, plans, like what we're going through almost on a monthly basis that you guys see in terms of site plan applications, are considered something which is a complex document. And so at one point we will be going into RFQ probably in the next couple of months, which you guys will be aware of, to seek a contractor to remediate complex documents, because it's just not within staff's capability to do that. But anything simple in terms of like bylaws, taxes, HR forms, anything along those lines that you might see online that we consider simple documents will be handled and remediated in-house through staff members. And so I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on that piece. Nothing for you guys to really address yourselves, but if you guys have any comments or questions about the website and the standards, I'm happy to answer those for you. So I'll open it up to you. Okay, moving on then. Okay, so this is the last item for the accessibility plan on my end. And so I know that we were trying to schedule a physical tour for the facilities, and almost every time that we try to do this, there's some kind of issue or people aren't able to make it. So I think last time it was only me and Matt that were going to be able to attend. And so what I basically did was I started doing video tours of all the facilities myself. And so I taped every facility from outdoor and walked through the entire thing. It was quite tedious trying to find times where there was no patrons in all of the locations in the facilities, but I have managed to do it. Now, I'm going to post it available to everybody. I have to figure out through IT the best way that they want to see this hosted, so that way you guys are able to access it. And to just manage in terms of workload for yourselves, obviously you guys have other things going on in your lives. What I'll do is I'll post 2 facilities every month until we look at every facility for the town of Aurora. So basically next week, I will provide you 2 videos. And what I'm just working on right now is captioning them for you. And so I've already done the videos. What I'm doing is now providing an auditory tour on top of the video that I have for you guys, so I can talk you through what you're seeing as well, making sure that you guys are aware of the sizes of the parking spots that we'll be looking at, any issues that I notice when I'm walking through the facilities. I'll highlight those in the video. And what I'm planning on doing is that every month we come to this point where we have the roundtable discussion, will be an opportunity for the committee to basically talk about the 2 sites that I sent over to them in the previous month. And so, like I said, for the month of November, I'm going to send you guys over Town Hall and the Stronach Aurora Recreation Complex. And then in December, when we meet, we'll talk about those 2 site plans, see if there's anything that we would like to see added on to capital, which I really do want you guys to focus on that and see what we could be adding in. I can give you my recommendations as well when we meet next month. And then that will continue every month moving forward until we cover all facilities. And so I don't want to go over the 2 facility mark, just again, because it'll take you a while to go through the videos and kind of gather your comments in between your schedules already. And of course, if we do have a ton of site plan applications, what happens almost every other month where the meeting's a little bit more busy, we won't have time to go through 4, 5, 6 facilities in one given meeting. So I think the 2 per meeting spread is probably the best way to do it. Now, I don't know if Joanne has joined us on the call. I'm not seeing her on here. So I'm going to speak with Joanne about seeing if she can come into town hall whenever we're doing this, and then give her basically a lender laptop in order for her to be able to access this information as well. And so wanted to just open the floor over to the committee. Do you guys have any feedback on the virtual tour or anything else you'd like to see in terms of detail? Like I said, I'm providing video and an auditory review of the facilities as you look at the video. Is there anything else that would help you guys or benefit you as you're taking a look at the site plans? I know this is going to be a little bit different going virtually versus physically, but it's almost the best thing that we can do for the time being. Nothing. Okay.
That's golden.
So this should be as easy as it can be for you guys. Like I said, the videos are probably about 20 to 30 minutes of each facility. Just takes me that much to kind of walk through it in detail. And like I said, I'll probably put some captioning or auditory over top of it just to kind of go through what's already there. A couple of things that I noticed when I was going through the site plans. And then I'll send you guys as well digitally the checklist that we use for our building inspections, so that we can go through that as well to kind of give you a little bit of a background. I know some of the members, like I know Rochelle always mentioned she's not too comfortable with this stuff quite yet. So I think that'll be handy for you guys to assist with kind of just reviewing the site plan as well.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. And so, like I said, I'm just going to be working on the auditory for the end of this week on those 2 site plans. So not AFLC, the SARC and Town Hall. And so I'll probably have those videos over to all of you sometime next week. So that'll give you about 3 weeks to watch an hour worth of videos and provide feedback and comments for the next time we meet in December. And that's it for me on the accessibility plan. Any overall questions or concerns? And then I'll obviously open up the table to the rest of the committee to speak any concerns that they have outside of what I spoke about as well.
Comments, anyone?
I know we were, well, I was talking about Evacuation Chairs, where did we leave off?
Yep. So the evacuation chairs that Max was asking about, I think the last 2 months in terms of purchasing. So last meeting, we discussed purchasing one for town hall to have as an evacuation chair for the staircases that we have over there. I'm purchasing that right now, actually, along with the sensory tents. I was waiting just to see like what COVID kind of turned out for that, but I'm buying the materials anyway for those two pieces. But we're going with one evac chair for the time being, Max, because we want to test it. I'll actually reach out to the committee to come along to town hall when we do receive it to just see how well it works. And if we are happy with the product and if it works well, we can discuss in 2021 adding it to the remainder of our facilities as an emergency asset for staircases. So we wouldn't have too many facilities that would really need that, but we can definitely look into investing into it once we take a look and review the first product that we receive, either at the end of this year or early of 2021. Does that answer your question, Max?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Tell. Oh. Yeah. I guess. Tell. Oh. You can take nature. Get out at all levels.
Yeah, town hall. So all of the facilities have emergency routes in terms of being prepared for patrons or staff members. I do like town hall as an option just because of the security measures that have been added on the second floor. So when you were on your co-op, Max, the doors were previously open to get over to the ramp that leaves out the back of the facility. That is now closed. And so I like having the evac chair on the second floor because right by the mayor's office, there's another staircase that leads out. That would be a good location for the evac chair to be available on the second floor. Just in case, normally when an emergency happens, those doors should open so you have access, but you never know with technology if anything goes bad, obviously. We want to have an alternative as well. So that's what my rationale was. Obviously, if we find that we want to put it at a different facility, we can move it, right? The item is mobile. But that's what my rationale was behind putting it at town hall, is just because I can already see a good spot for it just in case an emergency does occur.
Okay.
Great questions, Max. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Wow, quiet meeting today. Okay. So I guess I'll pass it back over to you, John. Thank you.
Oh, call the vote on this, all the comments and everything brought forward. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? So that carries. So we have no informational items this evening. We have a motion to adjourn. We all want to stay for a while?
Yeah, I was gonna say, come on, guys, what are you doing here?
Bye.
Wait a minute. And Rochelle, did you comment?
Yeah.
No, sorry. Okay. there we
No,
go.
I didn't, but I will, sure.
Okay. All right. So our next meeting is, do you have that in front of you?
I don't, but I'm gonna defer that over to Ashita because this is her job usually, so she can answer that one pretty quick.
So, through you, Mr. Chair, the next meeting is going to be on December the 9th.
All right. Excellent. All right. Everybody have a good month. Stay indoors, stay away from people, stay healthy.
It was nice